What is up, YouTube? My name is Canon Mikho, aka Ocean Crash. Welcome to episode number 33 of Before We Work with me, Canon Mikho. Today we are going to talk about something that's been on my mind for some time now. And it's just something that kind of I thought maybe would be a good gateway to discuss it because Joe Rogan recently released a podcast. The topic of discussion in his most recent podcast. He's got two videos of them, and basically, what's going on in those videos is two things. One, it's a long podcast. I'm forgetting his guest host's name. But he has two of them. One of them is called, if you guys can YouTube this, you can look it up and watch it. It's by Joe Rogan. It's called 9 to 5 Jobs Are BS, Why Waste Your Life. He has another one called Joe Rogan on Bullshit Jobs. So those are the two videos I'm going to be talking about mainly. He has other ones, like he has another one called Joe Rogan on Wasting Your Life on the 9 to 5 Rat Race. He calls it a rat race. And I kind of want to pitch in on this because I agree with him wholeheartedly. America has kind of put you, someone who works 9 to 5, in a situation where you're never going to enjoy your life. And the only way you can actually truly enjoy your life is by inventing something, opening up your own business, being really smart certain way or another, kind of have entrepreneur-like mentalities in terms of securities, stocks and bonds, investment, any types of investments, investing early in real estate at a young age. Just so many things that play a role in kind of like getting out of that 9 to 5 income. Don't quote me on this, but if I'm not mistaken, in the United States, about 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. And I think that tells you something, along with a lot of other statistics you can find out there. Definitely you can find it. And I think it's something like the average male income is like 74,000 and the average female is like 56, something like that. And taking that into consideration, let's say we average those, we'll say $64,000 a year. And it's paycheck to paycheck, around 70% of Americans. You're never ever gonna enjoy your life until you hit retirement. I'm telling you this now. Never will you, someone who's working a 9 to 5 job, unless you have a specialty, like a trade specialty, like being a doctor, board certified CPA, a lawyer, something that makes large amounts of income, But if you're all the other fields, maybe something in business, I would say business is a mixture of low income and high income fields. I would say it's a mixture of people who make low income, we'll say like restaurant burger flippers, we'll say, to people who make high income like doctors. I know a lot of people in marketing who make 6 figures easily. So it's definitely possible, and it's a mixture of that, but it really depends on your occupation. But if you're going into any science field, like lab work or something like that, if you're going into any craft school, maybe a chef or something like that, if you're going to any history or English or literature-based field, any art field, any mathematical field, you're really not going to be making much money. You're really not, and you're going to be living nine to five, paycheck to paycheck. Any burger flipper, any maintenance, you know, anything, any field really, that even, you know what, even doctors, to be honest with you. I mean, you have to think about it. You're really working for retirement. If you think about it, even doctors, when you graduate from school, you have thousands and thousands of dollars in debt. I mean, realistically, you're not going to be making millions of dollars right off the bat. And that's true for any occupation you go into, albeit sales if you're really, really good at it. I know people who've made hundreds of thousands of dollars within the first 3 years of their sales career, because they're so naturally gifted. Sales is really the only caveat to like being a rich individual at a young age. It's just so rewarding if you're skilled and talented at it and you really have the hunger for it. But it really takes the right type of person, and also takes the right type of skill to kind of sell to anyone, even if you don't want to be sold to. And if you're a good salesman, you can sell to that person. Someone who is not interested at all. But I digress. So I think there's a certain stigma, you know, in people's minds that no matter what you do, you have to get a college degree and you have to work a 9-to-5 job. I've worked multiple 9-to-5 jobs, college degree, I have multiple certifications. I hated my life. I'm gonna retract my statement. I was extremely uncomfortable with the 9-to-5 grind. And there's a lot of things that relay into that. I naturally am someone I like to explore nature. I love to go out. I hate cubicles. I love to go camping. I want to say camping and hiking. I want to say hanking instead. I don't know. Camping and hiking. I love to go camping and hiking. You know, I love the outdoors. I love games. I just love to do things. I love to clean. I love to organize. I love to do things. So if you take me, a creative individual, someone who has a lot of energy, and you throw me on this single-minded task and you monitor me heavily, it's going to be hard for me to get anything done. Now, there are other exceptions to that, like working remote, which I think is a lot better for a 9-to-5 job. A lot less strict rules and a lot more leniency, allowing people to get up every 20 minutes to stretch. I think it is I think it was Mayo Clinic that said they recommend, if you're either sitting or standing, taking a break, taking a minute or two break every 20 minutes to kind of stretch your muscles, stretch yourself, get relaxed, so you don't have any lower back pain issues, any standing feet issues, anything like that. Highly recommend it every 20 minutes. I don't do every 20 minutes. I don't think anyone does every 20 minutes. Probably select few. I don't know anyone that does. But I switch between sitting and standing. Anyways, I'm digressing again. But my point is that America has instilled into your brain this psychology of, if you don't work a 9-to-5 job, you're not a provider. And why is that? I think that it's for a few reasons. Well, first of all, let's touch on some points. 9-to-5 doesn't even exist anymore. I remember I used to be scolded because I would come into work at 9 and leave 5, and they used to say, "What are you doing? You haven't worked 8 hours." I'm like, "I'm working my 9-to-5. I don't care what you tell me. I'm not staying any longer. I'm not coming in any earlier. You have to come in 9 and leave 6. You're not working your lunch. I don't care. You're paying me for my lunch, and if you don't like it, that's fine. I'll work 7.5 hours. I'm working 9-to-5. I'm not going to be outside of my..." So even then, if I knew I was doing productive work, I didn't work 9-to-5. I worked maybe 9-to-4 because I knew my work was super productive, super good, super high quality, and I'm not going to force myself to be in a work environment and get nothing done, and just be more stressed and hate my job than come in the next morning after working 7 hours the previous day, fresh, and I'm ready to get back on my creative juices and provide some quality work for my company. So the 9-to-5 is dead. It's now 9-to-6. you know, or some companies 9 to 7, or even some companies 9 to 9, you know. There's really no more 8-hour work weeks. It's become 12-hour work weeks, 20-hour work weeks. I know some people who are on call, you know, like they were doctors or something for their jobs, and it's like, what? Like, come on. And I think it's really just America forcing the spoon down your throat. And it's come to the point where I tell people, salary is no longer the number one thing you want when you're applying for a job now. It's hourly. Without a fact, without a doubt in my mind, you want hourly pay, you know? Because, like I'm telling you, 9 to 5 just doesn't exist anymore. And if you can get hourly, do it. Because I guarantee you, no matter what the job is, you'll be working a minimum of 40, you know? In rare situations, you'll be working less than 40. But in most situations, you'll be working a minimum of 40 and sometimes over. Especially if it's like in business field. This is more so related to the business field. I can't really speak outside of that, since that's where I'm located. So take everything else, all the other fields, with a grain of salt. But this is generally speaking. The 9 to 5 is dead, generally speaking. No matter whom you go to. Generally speaking, the 9 to 5 is dead. And it's become so stressed on people. People just don't enjoy their lives. They don't. And I mean, what's happening nowadays is people are literally living for their 401k. That's literally what they're looking forward to. Retire a millionaire. That's what they say. I don't want to retire. I personally don't want to retire a millionaire. I want to be a millionaire before I retire. I want to retire at a young age. I want to be a millionaire at a young age. I really want to stop working when I'm 30, and all I want to do is invest. When I'm 30, I just want to buy properties, create businesses, and I don't want to work. I don't want to be laborious. I don't want to do any physical labor. I want to be smart with my money at a young age, and then once I hit retirement age, keep in mind I'm a very sophisticated goal, very courageous goal of 30, but that's always been my goal. Awkward phone call. But yeah, so that's always been my goal, and I think that's never going to stop, to be honest with you. And I think for good reason. It's just so exhausting. You really can't enjoy your life. You can't live life. You work 9 to 5 hours sitting at your desk, and then you get health complications for sitting at your desk because of lower back pain, of mental strain, of eye issues, of so many headaches, migraines, just from working 9 to 5. And you come home, and what do you want to do? You want to relax because you're so exhausted. This is not even considering the commute. There are people who commute half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. I commuted 2 hours one way. I commuted 2 hours when I was doing my tax, when I was working for doing taxes. One way, 2 hours. It was 4-hour commute every single day on top of a 9 to 5. Luckily, I was hourly, so I even made some more money there when I worked longer periods. But it's like, there has to be a way to stop. And I advise you, wholeheartedness, find something you're good in and pursue it. If you love HR, create your own HR firm. Open your own business. Create something. Invent something. If you're in science, invent a new beaker. Do something. Create something, invent something that will make you rich at a young age, and you won't have to depend on working a 9 to 5. If you love doing your 9 to 5, do it by all means. But I think you should invent something, or open up your business, or do something, create that safety net, so when you want to back out or when you want to take a break, you can. Like, you're not forced. I mean, I was thankful enough when I was working for my company remotely. I had a lot of flexibility in taking off. I could have taken off as many days as I wanted to. I'm sure my boss wouldn't have given a fly. I was only allowed to take 20 PTO days. I was taking around 30-40 PTO. Nothing, no issues. The most recent job I had, I only had like a week PTO the whole year. So it's like, and like no holidays, like nothing. It was terrible. I think they say the average is 2 weeks a year. I think that's including holiday and all that stuff. But it's like, to me, that's terrible. 2 weeks is terrible, and it's like you have to figure out what's the limit, what's the bar in your comfort and your work life. So I think what I recommend for everyone is that just evaluate where you are in your life and evaluate what makes you happy and move from there. Be creative. Don't be lazy. Don't just sit there all day trying to find a job and complaining when you can't. Do things that make you happy, that motivate yourself. If you can't find something that's gonna make you energetic, then figure out what makes you have fun. You know, what do you enjoy? What is okay for you? What can maybe spark something? If you have literally nothing, then maybe try things you haven't tried before. Maybe you haven't discovered your hobby yet, and then expand into a career or future from there. Just please, I beg of you, don't depend on the 9-to-5 to make you rich or wealthy. Unless you're okay with being average, then you're below average, as I say. If you're okay with being average, and you're below average, because you should never want to be just okay, just average. You should always want to be someone better, because you personally, anyone watching this video, is special. You guys are literally, every single one of you is special, and you're made differently. So you have your own creative juices that no one has. You know, you can invent something that no one has invented before. You can. You may have not discovered it yet. You may have not figured it out yet, but you can. So settling with average is really underestimating and not really using the creative juices that you have. And I feel bad for you if you're okay with just average, because you're worth more than that. So I disagree. I will not sit down and say, us as human beings, we are meant to work a 9-to-5 job and stay like that for the rest of our lives. I mean, I know people who work 9-to-5, retire when they're like 65, and then something happens to them medically, and then they die like 2 years later. It's like, so you lived 2 years, and even then you were sick within those 2 years. It's like, what? So please, don't listen to anyone who says 9-to-5 is the way to go. Do things you love. If you're not sure, don't do it. Don't go to college if you don't know what you want to do. Don't. You're wasting your time and your money. Please do not go to college and say, I'm just doing it because I don't know what I want to do. Don't do that. Biggest mistake of your life is going to college and not knowing why, just because you want to, and you don't know what you want to get a degree in. You're just taking some classes, and you're just getting a degree in something that you don't really enjoy. Like, don't do that. You're wasting your money. Thousands of dollars, like 10, 20, 30, $100,000 on something you don't enjoy, you don't know what you want to do. So please think smart, think correctly, don't think 9-to-5. Please. That's all I got to say. And yeah, it's been on my mind for some time now. 9-to-5 jobs are dead. They're still living in America, but it's a dead source of wealthy income. So if you really want to be wealthy, an entrepreneur, you know you don't work 9-to-5. You work 9 a.m. to 9 a.m. You know, if you're an entrepreneur, you're working 24 hours a week, so the 9-to-5 still doesn't exist. If you're working 9-to-5, if you're loving it, I'm proud of you. If you're not, wake up. Wake up, America. 9-to-5 is no longer the wealthy income. Alright guys, that's all we got for before we work. I actually was working. I got up super early today. Super early, like 6 a.m. And I'm going to get back to work. So, I love you all so much. Thank you so much for the 22 subscribers that are watching. Till next time. Till later. Peace.